Grandma here, and I'm getting ready to read chapter 3 of Number the Stars. Where is Mrs. Hirsch? My question is, who is Mrs. Hirsch? We have not met the character Mrs. Hirsch yet. Mostly we have the Rosens, Mrs. Rosen and Ellen, and we have the Johansson, which is Anna Marie and Kirsten. And we have Peter, who is who was their sister's fiance. The days of September passed, one after the other, much the same. Anna Marie and Ellen walked to school together and home again, always now taking the longer way, avoiding the tall soldier and his partner. Kirsty dawdled just behind them or scampered ahead, never out of their sight. The two mothers still had their coffee together in the afternoons. They began to knit mittens as the days grew shorter and the first leaves began to fall from the trees because another winter was coming. Everyone remembered the last one. There was no fuel now for the homes and apartments in Copenhagen, and the winter nights were terribly cold. Like the other families in their building, the Johanssons had opened the old chimney and installed a little stove to use for heat when they could find coal to burn. Mama used it too, sometimes for cooking, because electricity was rationed now. At night they used candles for light. Sometimes Ellen's father, a teacher, complained in frustration because he couldn't see in the dim light to correct his students' papers. That must have been really hard. No heat, no stove to cook on, and no electricity at night. And because they're in Denmark, they're further north, so the nights are going to be very long in the winter. Soon we will have to add another blanket to your bed, Mama said one morning as she and Anna Marie tidied the bedroom. Oh, Kirsty and I are lucky to have each other for warmth in the winter, Anna Marie said. Poor Ellen, to have no sisters. Well, she will have to snuggle in with her Mama and Papa when it gets cold, Mama said, smiling. I remember when Kirsty slept between you and Papa. She was supposed to stay in her crib, but in the middle of the night she would climb out and get in bed with you, Anna Marie said, smoothing the pillows on the bed. Then she hesitated and glanced at her mother, fearful that she had said the wrong thing, the thing that would bring the pained look to her mother's face. The days when little Kirsty slept in Mama and Papa's room were the days when Lisa and Anna Marie shared this bed. And remember, Lisa is her sister who has died. But Mama was laughing quietly. Oh, I remember too. Sometimes she wet the bed in the middle of the night. I did not, Kirsty said haughtily from the bedroom doorway. I never, ever, ever did that. Mama, still laughing, knelt and kissed Kirsty on the cheeks. Time for school, girls, she said. She began to button Kirsty's jacket. Oh dear, she said. Look, this button has broken right in half. Anna Marie, take Kirsty with you after school to the little shop where Mrs. Hirsch sells thread and buttons. See if you can buy just one to match the others on her jacket. I'll give you some kroner. It shouldn't cost very much. Okay, now we know who Mrs. Hirsch is. Mrs. Hirsch has a store where she sells buttons. And kroner are like our dollars. That's the money that they use in Denmark. But after school, when the girls stopped at the shop, which had been there as long as Anna Marie could remember, they found it closed. There was a new padlock on the door and a sign. But the sign was in German. They couldn't read the words. I wonder if Mrs. Hirsch is sick, Anna Marie said as they walked away. I saw her Sunday, Ellen said. She was with her husband and their son. They all looked just fine. Or at least the parents looked just fine. The son always looked like a horror, she giggled. Anna Marie made a face. The Hirsch family lived in the neighborhood, so they had seen the son, Samuel, often. He was a tall teenager with thick glasses, stooped shoulders, and unruly hair. Does he look like any Samuel you know? He rode a bicycle to school, leaning forward and squinting, wrinkling his nose to nudge his glasses into place. His bicycle had wooden wheels, now that rubber tires weren't available, and it creaked and clattered on the street. During World War II, rubber was not used for people like us, so that the cars, you couldn't replace the tires, and the bicycles, sometimes you had to carve out wood for a wheel. I think the Hirsches all went on vacation to the seashore, Kirsty announced. And I suppose they took a big basket of pink frosted cupcakes with them, Anna Marie said sarcastically to her sister. Wonder where the Hirsches went. Wonder why they closed their store. Or if they closed their store. Kind of weird that they would put a sign in German on their store. Anna Marie and Ellen exchanged looks that meant, Kirsty is so dumb. No one in Copenhagen had taken a vacation at the seashore since the war began. There were no pink frosted cupcakes. There hadn't been for months. Still, Anna Marie thought, looking back at the shop before they turned the corner, where was Mrs. Hirsch? The Hirsch family had gone somewhere. Why else would they close the shop? Mama was troubled when she heard the news. Are you sure? She asked several times. We can find another button someplace, Anna Marie reassured her. Or we can take one from the bottom of the jacket and move it up. It won't show very much. But it didn't seem to be the jacket that worried Mama. Are you sure that sign was in German? She said. Maybe you didn't look carefully. Oh, Mama, it had a swastika on it. Swastika is a symbol, and Grandpa helped me out, and he drew a picture of a swastika for you. It's sometimes called a twisted cross. It is an ancient symbol used by even Native Americans. But in this case, it represents the Nazis in Nazi Germany. And it is considered to be a symbol of hate. Her mother turned away with distracted look. Anna Marie, watch your sister for a few minutes and begin to peel the potatoes for dinner. I'll be right back. Where are you going? Anna Marie asked her mother as she started for the door. I want to talk to Mrs. Rosen. Puzzled, Anna Marie watched her mother leave the apartment. She went to the kitchen, opened the door to the cupboard where the potatoes were kept. Every night now, it seemed, they had potatoes for dinner. And not much else. What do you think Anna Marie's mother's going to talk to Mrs. Rosen about? Do you think she's going to talk about buttons? Or do you think she's going to talk about the swastika? Or maybe Mrs. Hirsch? Maybe she's going to talk to her about supper plans and having potatoes for supper. Anna Marie was almost asleep when there was a light knock on the bedroom door. Candlelight appeared in the door open and her mother stepped in. Are you asleep, Anna Marie? No, why? Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong, but I'd like you to get up and come out to the living room. Peter's here. Papa and I want to talk to you. Anna Marie jumped out of bed and Kirsty grunted in her sleep. Peter! She hadn't seen him in a long time, and there was something frightening about him being here at night. Copenhagen had a curfew, and no citizens were allowed after 8 o'clock. It was very dangerous for Peter to visit at this time. But she was delighted that he was here. Though his visits were always hurried, they almost always seemed secret somehow, in a way that she couldn't put her finger on. Still, it was a treat to see Peter. It brought back memories of happier times, and her parents loved Peter too. They said he was like a son. Barefoot, she ran to the living room and into Peter's arms. He grinned and kissed her cheek and ruffled her long hair. "You've grown taller since I saw you last," he told her. "You're all legs." Anna Marie laughed. "Yeah, I won the girls' foot race last Friday at school," she told him proudly. "Where have you been? We've missed you." "Oh, my work takes me all over," Peter explained. "Look, I brought you something. One for Kirsty, too." He reached into his pocket and handed her 2 seashells. Anna Marie put the smaller one on the table to save it for her sister. She held the other in her hand, turning it in the light, looking at the ridged, pearly surface. It was so like Peter to bring just the right gift. "For your mama and papa, I brought something more practical, 2 bottles of beer." Mama and Papa smiled and raised their glasses. Papa took a sip and wiped the foam from his upper lip. Then his face became more serious. "Anna Marie," he said, "Peter tells us that the Germans have issued orders closing many stores run by Jews." "Jews?" Anna Marie repeated. "Is Mrs. Hirsch Jewish? Is that why the button shop is closed? Why have they done that?" Peter leaned forward. "It is their way of tormenting. For some reason, they want to torment Jewish people. It has happened in other countries. They've taken their time here, have let us relax a little, but now it is starting." "But why the button shop? What harm is a button shop? Mrs. Hirsch is such a nice lady. Even Samuel. Oh, he's a dope, but he would never hurt anyone. How could he? He can't even see with his thick glasses." Then Anna Marie thought of something else. If they can't sell buttons, how will they earn a living? "Friends will take care of them," Mama said gently. "That's what friends do." Anna Marie nodded. Mama was right, of course. Friends and neighbors would go to the home of the Hirsch family, would take them fish and potatoes and bread and herbs for making their tea. Maybe Peter would even take them a beer. They would be comfortable until their shop was allowed to open again. Then suddenly, she sat upright, her eyes wide. "Mama," she said, "Papa, the Rosens are Jewish too." Her parents nodded, their faces serious and drawn. "I talked to Sophie Rosen this afternoon." That's Ellen's mother. "After you told me about the button shop," Mama said. "Ah, now we know why Mama went to go see Mrs. Rosen. She knows what's happening, but she doesn't think it will affect them." Anna Marie thought and understood. She relaxed. "Yeah, Mr. Rosen doesn't have a shop. He's a teacher. They can't close a whole school." She looked at Peter with questions in her eyes. "Can they?" "I think the Rosens will be all right," he said, "but you keep an eye on your friend Ellen and stay away from the soldiers. Your mother told me about what happened on Osterbrogade." Anna Marie shrugged. She'd almost forgotten the incident. Oh, it was nothing. They were only bored and looking for someone to talk to, I think. She turned to her father. "Papa, do you remember what you heard the boy say to the soldier? That all of Denmark would be the king's bodyguard?" Her father smiled. "Oh, I've never forgotten it," he said. "Well," Anna Marie said slowly, "now I think that all of Denmark must be bodyguard for the Jews as well." "So we shall," Papa replied. Peter stood. "I must go," he said, "and you, Longlegs, it is way past your bedtime now." He hugged Anna Marie again. Later, once more in her bed, beside the warm cocoon of her sister, Anna Marie remembered how her father had said 3 years before that he would die to protect the king. That her mother would too, and Anna Marie, 7 years old, had announced proudly that she also would. Now she was 10, with long legs and no more silly dreams of pink frosted cupcakes. And now she and all the Danes were to be bodyguard for Ellen and for Ellen's parents and all of Denmark's Jews. Would she die to protect them? Truly, Anna Marie was honest enough to admit there in the darkness to herself that she wasn't sure. For a moment, she felt frightened, but she pulled the blanket up higher around her neck and relaxed. It was all imaginary anyway, not real. It was only in the fairy tales that people were called on to be brave, to die for one another. Not in real life, Denmark. Oh, there were the soldiers, that was true, and the courageous resistance leaders who sometimes lost their lives, that was true too. But ordinary people like the Rosens and the Johansons, Anna Marie admitted to herself, snuggling there in the quiet dark, that she was glad to be an ordinary person who would never be called upon for courage. And that's the end of chapter 3. So do you think that she's going to be called on to be courageous somehow? What's one way she would be courageous, do you think? Well, we'll have to see in the story. Number the stars. Next time we'll be reading chapter 4. It's no longer a question, but it will be a long night. So did we answer the question of chapter 3, where is Mrs. Hirsch? Well, Mrs. Hirsch is probably in her home. It doesn't really state that, but she's not at the seashore, and she's not in her shop selling buttons. So I think she's probably in her home. Okay, see you guys later. Bye-bye.